now let's talk about artificial intelligence. So this is the last talk of the day, okay? So I want it to be a little bit fun, okay? So there's only one rule in this talk, only one. Every time that, so we will have in total 3 kind of small talks. So you will pair up with somebody in your, sits next to you, and you're going to talk about a topic that I'm going to give you, okay? So that's the deal. But when we go into that session, I will clap, okay? And when we want to come out of it, I'll clap again, okay? So let's try it for maybe 10 seconds. So when I clap, you make some noise, any noise, okay? And the second time I clap, we go silent. All right? ¿Listos? No, no, we can do better than this. All right. We are getting there, okay? So for last time, put everything together, okay? No, the second one was silent. All right. So you got the rule, okay? So now, I guess this is the last time that the CFIA is going to invite me because I'm breaking all the rules. So today I'm here to tell you this, that AI is here to eliminate a lot of tedious tasks in our industry. And so that it can free up our time, so we can do more strategic work and boost your career growth. So that's the message that I want you to take with you today, okay? So the first activity, think about, this is just you thinking about it. When you think about AI, when you think about artificial intelligence, what is the emotion that comes to your mind? And this is a cheat sheet of emotion, okay? So fascination, concern, excitement. For 10 seconds, think about that in your head. Pick a word from this list, or feel free to add any other words, and think about that, okay? When I clap, you will find the person next to you, and you introduce yourself. If you don't know each other, you can hug and kiss and do whatever you want. And then in a minute, you talk about that word. And then maybe 30 seconds, talk about that word, one word, only one word. And then I say switch, and the person who was talking, stop talking, and then the next person will talk. Okay? Ready? All right, let me. Talk to the person next to you about the emotion. Introduce yourself. If you're alone, find someone. That's the time to network. I can't hear anything from this side. All right, now switch. The person who was talking, stop. The next person talks. All right, 10 seconds before the second clap. All right, let's get out of, so we'll do 2 more of these, okay? So you'll still have the chance to talk to your neighbor, make some, new friends, and that's the whole purpose of being here, right? All right, so what is AI? So today I talked to a lot of you in the lobby, and when I was talking to you, what I realized is that a lot of people have this question: what AI really is? This is like magic word that you're hearing it over and over, but it seems that we can't have a grasp of it. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about what AI is, how does it work, and give you some examples. Okay? So this is a very old definition of AI. AI has been here since 1950, and so it's not something new. And basically, in the field of AI, scientists try to mimic how human sees the world, how human learns, how human acts, and how human moves. So they create these AI agents that can mimic that. And they're very good at mimicking that. But they don't really have that level of knowledge that human has. So in my book, Augment-It, I talk about AI as being like a tree. So it has roots in science, like mathematics, biology, and the branch of the AI tree are different fields of AI or subfields of AI. For instance, computer vision, to see things, natural language processing, to understand language, machine learning, to learn things, search and optimization, robotics, and knowledge representation and reasoning, just to name a few. Okay? So in each of these subfields, scientists try to mimic something that human is doing. So let's review maybe 2, 3 of these branches and see how we can use them today in the field of architecture, in design, engineering, construction. Okay? So let's start with computer vision. Now, we use computer vision with photos. So we use them to, for instance, detect objects. It could be on the road, or X-rays, or in crops. Is it a ripe one or not? In security cameras. So they're everywhere. And in our field, we can use them to detect where the bathrooms are or where the bedrooms are. You might be asking yourself, why do we need this? Why do we need AI to tell us what's the bathroom or where the bathroom is located? So the reason is that the moment we start detecting these things, then if we learn the patterns between them, we can start creating them or generating them. And that's the possibility that's in front of us. So today I'll show you some example of how does that look like. This is like step 1, being able to detect different things. In this case is a bathroom, could be bedroom, and then finding a relationship between them. The bedroom is connected to a bathroom. So with AI, if you have a lot of data, it can detect the adjacency requirements. And once we detect that, then we can generate those. Now let's talk a little bit about natural language processing. What's that? How can we use it in our daily tasks? And what does that look like? How many of you use the app called Grammarly? Raise your hand. All right. I can detect who writes in English, or who doesn't write a good paragraph in English. So for me, because I'm from Iran, so I live in San Francisco, and English is my second language. I can barely speak English, no español. So when I type something, Grammarly is like my editor. Anything that I put in here, Grammarly will say, okay, there are some suggestions. And based on that, you want to change this, you want to change that. So it comes up with all the suggestions as if it understands the language, at least better than me. And you're free to accept some of these, or if you want, you can just ignore it. So it really helps you to build confidence in your second language. whatever that might be. In this case, this is English. And this is trained on millions of text data that existed. And as you interact with it, it's going to learn from you and bring that back into the system that they have. So today you saw the video of ChatGPT. The question you might be having is that how the technology like ChatGPT works. In reality, is basically, or in your email, when you have Outlook and you start typing in, and Outlook try to predict, at least in English language, try to predict what's the next word or what's the next sentence. How does that work? So what's happening in the back end is that these models are trained to predict the next word. So it's a prediction that is happening. They've seen a lot of patterns in the past. So I mentioned before, if you can find the patterns and the relationships, the next step is to kind of generate something. And that's how they can generate things, because they've seen a lot of text like that. So when I really like San Jose's, and in the back end, there are possible words that will pop up, and we don't see them. And in front of each word, there is a likelihood or probability that the model knows. And based on that, it will come up with the highest probability. Okay? If you decide to go with another one, it will learn that from you, and it will get better and better. So all of these models that we are working, all this AI technology that we are working today, at least most of them, they're based on probability. And all they do, they look at the pattern in the data, and as you are interacting with them, they try to guess and generate what's going to come next. Now, how can we use these in architectural design, engineering design, civil engineering? So guess what? We have a lot of textual information. We have, earlier today, you saw an example of doing chat with your PDFs, okay? We have a lot of building codes and requirements. So with these technologies, we're able to summarize them, find the information in them, and use them to design better and faster. Now, Mariana earlier today was talking about building information modeling, or BIM, and a great project that her team did in Mexico, in Cancun. If you look at the BIM, is like an iceberg. When you look at the file, you probably see 3D models, right? But in that 3D model, there are tons of data and all the connections between them that we don't necessarily see. How many of you exported from Revit your file into IFC? 2/3 of you. When you export your file into IFC, you will see the textual data that all these BIM file is carrying, and kind of show you what is in the back. It's a graph that has all the relationship and connections of your model. And I bet today we don't really utilize all the BIM data that we have properly. We don't really use them with the help of AI to find the patterns between them and to be able to quickly generate new design. In most of our work, we look at all the, you get a new project and say, oh, we've done this before. Let me search where that is. The thing that you do manually, AI can help you to do better, and AI can help you to do faster if we have a way of leveraging our data that we already have in BIM. AI can find the patterns between your data and quickly generate solutions for you. All right, now let's go to machine learning. And this is the last branch that we are going to cover today. a lot of people use AI and machine learning interchangeably, but reality is that AI is an umbrella term. AI is if you think about AI is like a house, and machine learning is one room in this house. Or it's a very popular room, by the way, because most of the things that we do uses machine learning. But how does machine learn? Like, what's the trick that scientists put together so that we think that the machine is learning? So in Excel, in classical programming, you have an input, let's say number 2, dos. And then you have a function, let's say times 2, okay? So you put the input and you have a function and you get the output. 2, 4, 4, 8, 8, 16, right? This is how classical programming works. Input and function, it will give you the output. If you run this 1,000 times, same output, nothing is gonna change. Machine learning, on the other hand, you give them the input and output. You give it 2, 4, 6, 12, 8, 16. And the algorithm will look at all of these and say, oh, I think this is 2x, and learns the function. So you give them input, you give them output, and that's the data. And this is kind of like a supervised machine learning. Input and output, input and output. And it learns the function that connects input to the output, okay? So now, all of us use Outlook, and all of us receive spams every day. And this is a classical example of using machine learning. Back in the days, the spammers started putting words like spam. This is not a spam. And you know, the programmers said, okay, if it contains a spam, then this is a spam. So there were programmers. And the hackers were like, okay, so instead of spam, write S asterisk P asterisk, so change the word. But the programmers were always behind because they were the one that hard coding all the rules. What happened was that with machine learning, they said, okay, we don't need to put in all the rules. What if, or function, what if we give them inputs and outputs? This email is a spam. This email is not. This is a spam. This is not. And this is how we can detect cats and dogs. This is cat, this is dog. This is cat, this is dog. And what machine learning does is that it looks at all these examples you provided and say, oh, this is a spam, or this is not a spam. And there is always some approximation that happens. So sometimes it flags the good email as a spam, or and a spam email as a good one. So you got to be careful about that. So let me quickly show you how to create a machine learning model for a structural design example. Inputs are different CAD drawings with the columns. But unfortunately, the machines, they know only zeros and ones. They don't know what the column is. So you need to put a square around it and say, this is a column, 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 column. This is an example of column, okay? So through the process, the algorithm will look at all of these and say, okay, this is the input, this is the column, input column, input column. And they will learn when you give them a new data that they haven't seen, they say, oh, I think I learned this is column. I think this is column. Again, there are some approximations that happen. Again, why do we do this? Because if we learn, if we find a pattern, then we can generate these later on. I'll show you an example of that in a moment. That's why these technologies are really bringing a new era in design. Okay, so I want to spend 2 minutes here for a quick share out with the person next to you. When I clap, you answer this question. What was your learning about this presentation so far? Okay, what did you learn from this so far? Okay, your first person, 1 minute. Go. What was your learning from this presentation so far? You have 1 minute. So the question is, what was your learning about this presentation so far? All right, so 1 minute is done. Now let's switch. The person who's talking, now the next person. Next person. $30 seconds. How's it going? All right. Fantastic. Okay, so let me clap again. Maybe that wasn't. All right, so now we learn about all the basics. Okay? Now I'm going to show you a couple of applications that puts all of these together. Rule number 1, when you see these applications, think about what's the method of AI, what branch of the AI tree is being used. Think about how we went from recognizing things and learning the relationship between them into generating new things. And think about all the conversations that you've had with the person next to you. Sounds good? Listos? Pura vida, okay. Your organization. That's how AI can help you eliminate your tedious tasks, free up the time so that you can work on more strategic tasks and boost your career growth. That's the potential in our hand. And if you don't do it, your competitors are already working on it. If you don't think about it strategically, you're going to lose the game because everybody in this industry is thinking about it now. Now, I want the last activity, which is the last minute of this talk, to be about this. What action will you take as a result of this presentation? What did you take away? What was your takeaway? You just talked about it. But what action will you take? It could be learning about AI, watching a video, talking to my peers, start implementing, start experimenting, anything that you can think of. What would you do after this conference with regards to AI? Okay? The last minute. Let's do 30 seconds, okay? Let's go. All right, 30 seconds done. Next person. What action will you take as a result of this presentation? Ten seconds. All right, all right. Let me clap again. The last one. That was 3 times. All right, so let's wrap it up. Imperial time. So what we covered today? What we covered is that AI is here to remove your tedious tasks so that you can have more time on doing your strategic work. And AI is here to help you and the people in your company to boost their career growth. These are some of the free resources that I want to offer. The book, actually, I think there are 20 copies of the book outside of this room. If you're interested, you can check it out. There are 3 chapters of the book that you can download and read. There is a workbook that is also free, and that lays out all the things that you need to do with your team to bring AI to your company. People often ask, what is our first step? And your first step is always educating your people and educating your team and educating your executives about what AI is, what it is not, and how it can be used to give you market differentiation. How you can leverage that data that you have so that you can build a better and more sustainable future. And with that, I want to thank you all for staying late, and pura vida. Thank you.